Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is March 8th, and right now we're looking at the visible satellite imagery with the Doppler radars overlaid. And just a reminder that we're not picking up a lot of this precipitation that is occurring because the Doppler radars are limited by terrain and just how far out their beams can reach out across the ocean. But if I scroll back and forth a little bit there, you can kind of see how this is just training right over Vancouver Island up into Northwest Washington. Hoh rainforest, big amounts incoming, Quileute, Washington, Southwest BC, some flooding concern, and Vancouver Island. Some of this is moving across some of the Seattle Metro, much lighter there though, and you can see the Willamette Valley actually peeking out with some sunshine this morning for some areas. Lenticular clouds going off across the Cascades as we speak right now as well. Now, taking a wider view of things here, this is that trough and atmospheric river moving up into the region, and this trough is going to get reinforced as we go through next week. Another strong low will be moving up our coastline. We'll take a look at the latest on that. We'll take a detailed look at it, in fact. And just a reminder, I created a third channel known as Worldwide Weather Watch. Check it out. Click like and subscribe if you would. We'll be talking about the craziest weather going on across the planet. Probably on a, we'll do these every other day on average, and I'll try to put one out every day if I have the time. And if you want to record your own weather, this weather station's great. Click on the link down below, help support the channel. 10% off the station, solar powered, lightning detection system. You'll really enjoy this weather station. Now, looking at the European on the left versus the GFS on the right. So here goes our current trough and our atmospheric river pushing on in through the Pacific Northwest. You can see the split here with this closed low gets pushed into California, but our trough gets reinforced here, and we're going to keep some active weather across the Pacific Northwest. Our deep low is probably forming right there. You see it on the GFS. I'm circling right off the Washington and Vancouver Island coastline there. The GFS a little bit quicker with that system, but it is bringing some windy solutions. We'll take a look at the latest on that here in a moment. And by the time we go towards midweek, look at this trough just set up across the west coast of North America, all the way up through Canada, all the way down through California. And we scroll out a little bit further, and you can kind of see the active weather potentially continuing as we go into the mid portion of March with that trough getting reinforced yet again. And if we take a look at the European model, you can see this the axis of the atmospheric river, man, it is pointed right at Vancouver Island, Southwest BC. The snow levels aren't that high for an atmospheric river. It's still some flooding concerns will be in place for this. Pay attention to your local warnings and advisories, especially across Southwest BC. And you can see the Olympic Mountains getting hit pretty hard as well as we go through the day tomorrow. Eventually takes over Seattle. Some precip coming for Portland, the Cascades of Washington. But the front is weakening dramatically as it starts to push down across Washington and Oregon. And then another very weak system there as we go through Monday night, Tuesday. Then the deeper low starts to form. And I want to back this up here a little bit more. And you can see it's probably about a 1,011 millibar low here by 11Z on Tuesday. We'll go to Wednesday morning here, and that would equate to a bomb cyclone. That's a drop of almost 30 millibars here in 24 hours. And all the bomb cyclone is a drop in pressure over a 24-hour period. If it exceeds 24 millibars as a general rule, it's considered a bomb cyclone. It doesn't say anything about what kind of winds any individual area is going to get, how much precipitation or any kind of snow or anything like that. It's just the rate of pressure drop over a given 24-hour period. And then you see that swing through here. It's got a bit of a punch, but pretty good pressure gradient with it. And there's still some big ensemble disagreement on just the exact track of this low. So we're watching it closely, and I'll show you more on that here in a moment. And we can take a look at some of the shorter range models, like the North American model. There goes our frontal system sliding through. And then the deeper low arrives right at the end of the run. You see it really deepening to a 989 millibar low. Kind of some rapid deepening here. Tongue twister for the morning for me there. You can see the 989 millibar low there. So it'll be interesting to watch this. The North American 3-kilometer high resolution version will be coming into range probably tomorrow morning as well. We'll check that one out. And also, I did want to point out, when this frontal system moves through on the day tomorrow and then through Monday morning, some of these snow levels are going to get down, especially across some of Snohomish and King County with some of this convergent zone activity. Some of the higher hills could get a wintry mix, maybe a dusting of snowfall in the wake of that. This is looking at the temperature at 850 millibars. And once you hit that magic -6C temperature threshold, you start to get some of that snow that can be mixing down into the lower elevations. We're not looking at big time accumulations down for the I-5 corridor or 405 or anything like that. We will check this out again tomorrow just to make sure, but you can see that chillier air. I just wanted to mention that because some of the higher hills for western Washington and some of southwest BC could be looking at a little bit of wet snow mixing in at times. Now, if we take a look at that in the North American high resolution model, we go into Monday morning, you can kind of see that encroaching into the western portions of the lowlands a little bit, but I'm not expecting that Seattle gets a half an inch of snowfall on the ground or anything of that nature. You see some of the lower snow levels towards the I-5 corridor there as well, and some better amounts across the higher terrain as far as snowfall is concerned over the next 60 hours. So we like to see that. We need to build that snowpack up. We are below average here across a lot of the region. And total precipitation in inches. So you can see how Vancouver Island and southwest BC are really targeted. Look at Quileute up over 2 inches by the time we get towards midnight tonight, slamming into the Olympic Mountains. And by the way, make sure to click your clocks forward an hour as we go through the night tonight. We are springing forward. And if you look on this Sunday morning, you start to see these browns emerge. That's 5+ inches of rainfall there in Quileute. Huge amounts incoming southwest BC, really getting hammered there as well. The snow levels aren't that low, but again, there is flooding concerns here across southwest BC. Then eventually it shifts across some of the North Cascades, but the front will be weakening as it pushes down across southern Washington and on in through Oregon. Then we get the next system up here with additional rounds of precipitation, but not nearly as sinister as an atmospheric river or anything of that nature as the one going on right now. And you can see by the time we get towards Thursday night, another 1.3 inches for Seattle, maybe an inch for Portland there, and some much bigger amounts across the North Cascades. And you see the rain shadowing there going on for eastern portions as well. Columbia Basin not picking up much overall. Now, this is the GFS. Let's see what it shows, and I'm going to update that. 12Z is ongoing as we speak. So there's our atmospheric river pushing through. System moves into California. Then we gear up for our next storm system. Look at that spinning up off the coastline there. That would be bomb cyclone criteria as it curls up towards the north tip of Vancouver Island. But you notice the dangerous pressure gradient and the GFS as of this morning keeps that away from the Washington coast. It would still be windy out there, but for the most part, this would be a pretty big blow to Vancouver Island. A lot less people live here, but still enough people that you got to be concerned with some of these wind speeds there. But this is much less of a blow for the Washington, Oregon coast and for the interior of western Washington or southwest BC if this 12Z GFS is onto anything there. But still a fairly deep blow. We got to watch the exact track of this. And then we scroll off into the future and you continue to see us dealing with these systems off our coastline. And we stay fairly active all the way on in through mid-March. Then look at this ridge off in Fantasyland starting to build there. Looks almost like kind of a transient ridge here as another system's already cutting back into it though. Now, taking a look at the European, we're going to look at the timing of these winds here. Let me just update that and we'll go ahead and take a look here. And this is 100-meter wind speed. So you can see the boundary of that atmospheric river into central BC as we speak right about now. Some gusty winds out there, northwest interior, straight at Georgia, maybe the coastal areas today. Nothing too crazy though. And then we bring a little bit of a gusty front through here as we go through the day tomorrow on Sunday. And you see that atmospheric river is weakening dramatically by the time it pushes down across the Oregon coastline. And then we take a look at the next storm system. So look at it ramp up here. If I back that up, you can see the development along the baroclinic boundary right off the Washington coast. And look at that bad boy spin up. It starts to get pretty windy here as we go through Tuesday night. On in through early Wednesday morning, Washington, Oregon coast, northwest interior, and Vancouver Island would be getting a pretty good shot of wind with that as well. And this one would be fairly favorable for Quileute. You can kind of see that system passing much closer than the GFS, which is further off to the north and west. And also a pretty good surge up the Puget Sound here as well. Some blustery conditions for the Willamette Valley under last night's European run scenario shown there. So taking a look at accumulated 10-meter max wind gusts. There's Sunday's frontal system. Again, not too crazy with the wind speeds as we go through the day Sunday, but you might notice the blustery winds associated. But the stronger winds arrive as we go through Wednesday morning. Look at this, 53. Some areas up towards 60 maybe for the Oregon coast. Vancouver Island, straight at Georgia. Look at the northwest interior, talking about 50, 55. Seattle 46, not too bad. Olympia 43, so it's pretty blustery. Then you get up towards Snohomish, Skagit, and Whatcom County. And you're looking at the potential for some 50, 55 mile per hour gusts with this system. So again, the track of this low is still kind of all over the place here. And I'll even show you more on that here in a moment, because we look at Quileute and, we're starting to get a bit closer to this, and you see the control run showed 53, but look at some of these individual ensembles, 66, 72, 66, 68. But a lot of these don't show much of a punch at all. So we're still got some pretty good model discrepancy. Look at the ensemble mean is only in the mid 30s as of right now. That's Quileute Airport on the Northwest Washington coast. If we look at Seattle Tacoma, I mean, you can see 44 here. You're looking at 48, 51. There's some 50s in there, but look at ensemble member 27 showed 72 miles per hour for Seattle. And in fact, that might even be higher. Does that show 70 or what is this here? That's a pretty crazy windstorm moving across the region. And again, a lot of these don't show much wind at all for the Seattle Metro. And I cherry picked member number 27. Yes, you can look at these individual ensemble members. Now watch this low pressure track. You can see that 992, that is rapidly developing. 988, it's deepening as it approaches the Oregon coast. 986, still deepening as it moves up across ocean shores with a very potent pressure gradient on the south side of that. That is a pretty nasty windstorm, would bring a huge pressure rise up the Puget Sound as well. That's why the model was showing 70 mile per hour gusts for Seattle and be pretty widespread windstorm there. But that is just one of 50 ensemble members. And so, you can't really build a forecast on that. It's just kind of interesting to show you that there is some pretty good model discrepancy or ensemble discrepancy on just where this low is going to track. Now, if we take a look here, another windy solution on number 3, and you can see that 979 beast there. It is starting to weaken by the time it makes its way into Vancouver Island, but this would bring very strong winds to the Washington coast as well. And then you see that 984 millibar low moving up across central British Columbia or southwest British Columbia. Now, looking at this one as well, you can see this very deep low off the coastline, but this, this wouldn't show much winds across the Washington coast or the Seattle Metro at all. It'd be pretty breezy and gusty here along Vancouver Island, but this is one of the scenarios where we would definitely miss out on the winds here across southwest BC and western Washington, no doubt. So if we take a look at the spaghetti chart here, if we take a look at this, we're looking at all 50 ensemble members. We're going to go back towards the beginning here because you can see as we start the forecast, we have a really good idea on where these low pressure centers are and what the pressures are currently. But as we start to move off into the future, things get a bit more chaotic, and you can see why they call it a spaghetti chart. These noodles start to fly all over the place. Of course, when you get further out in the forecast, you get more discrepancy. And then you see the deep low start to come, and then you can kind of see, again, plate of noodles, right? But we have a good idea that a fairly deep low is going to be forming in this general area. How close to the coast is that going to get? How far out over the water is it going to be? What kind of pressure gradient is going to be associated with that storm? And then you can see as we go off in towards Wednesday about 5 p.m., we're kind of all over the place here with this storm system, anywhere up, just to the south and east of Haida Gwaii, Vancouver Island, where is exactly it going to be? So that is what your mind should look like if you were a meteorologist forecasting for this system. But we know there's going to be a storm out here somewhere. And if we take a look at Tillamook, you can kind of see again the hit and miss nature of the storm coming up there. You can see some bigger gusts with some much lower gusts there mixed in with those ensemble members. And this is Vancouver Island. I don't know if I've updated this one. I have not yet. But yeah, you can see even for Vancouver Island, Tofino, Long Beach Airport, some of these differences in some of the wind speeds there as well. Whidbey Island, let's take a look here. And again, big time model or ensemble discrepancy. I keep saying model, but it's ensemble discrepancy between the Europeans, but the control run did have 55. And if we take a look at the ensemble mean here, and this is last night's European model there, and there goes our system moving through, and then the deeper low starts to arrive here as we go on in through Tuesday night on into Wednesday here. And then you can kind of see that troughing is going to continue out over the Gulf of Alaska. And I've showed this the last couple of days. I'll show it one more day here. Season to date total snow. This is from October 1st. So you can see the Cascades, the Olympic Mountains, 2.5 for Seattle officially. You can see Portland International there. Some of the Willamette Valley, more hit and miss, especially as you get off to the south there. And you see some of the coastal range shown there. There's the entire Pacific Northwest as well. So 6 to 10 day, let's update that west coast below as we go through March 17th. We update that. Yep, that did update. And we go through March 17th. Look at that nice above average across much of the west. 8 to 14 day as well, still below average. And then we go 8 to 14 day precipitation and above normal through March 21st. And this is looking at, here's Washington State up here. Not great for a La Nina year. We are below normal with that snowpack. Places across Oregon are better, but Idaho, Panhandle, and Western Montana not doing too hot as well. So hopefully we can build this snowpack with that trough active out over the Gulf of Alaska over the next couple of weeks or so. And here we are, 96,372 on our way towards 100,000 subscribers. And again, just the act of checking back daily and watching these videos helps this channel dramatically. Leave a comment below. I do get so many comments that I can't respond to all of them, but I do see them. So much appreciation and much thanks. This channel is not possible without you guys. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Otherwise, click like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.